We'll see in just a second. Look at somebody next to you and say, you're alive. Tell them. Look at the other person and say, you're well. In an environment, maybe you can relate. My parents didn't get along. My mom ended up in prison.
There's some chairs, yeah.
Years.
There's some chairs for you.
My mom walked out, broke my heart, right? But I decided that in
chairs
all
right
of my journeys, all of my things, trying to fit in, all it took was one person.
Wear them back down.
And I realized something about you and about me. At the end of the day, no matter what you're trying to prove, whatever you're trying to accomplish, whatever you're trying to go through, here's one thing I've learned, is that at the end of the day, there's going to be a story about you and about me. If somebody's going to say this, they're going to say, because of you, I'm better. You know what? When my mom walked out on me, and there was this one guy, this motivational speaker that came to my high school. I was raised in Houston, Texas, and you've seen the stories where the railroad tracks are and the hood and all that kind of stuff. That's where I grew up. My best friends are still in that life today. It breaks my heart. But at the end of the day, every time I go home to see them, you know what? They're my friends. I love them to death. They'll get the shirt off their back. And every time I go see them, I remember being in high school, this motivational speaker came. And I was cracking up because I was the speaker's worst nightmare. Because I can make other people laugh, and I was afraid of listening to what this guy had to say because it made me look in the mirror. Right? Some of the greatest mountains you're going to have to face and I'm going to have to face have nothing to do with your financial status, with what you're going through in your everyday life, as much as it is the person that you see in the mirror, right? Sometimes that's the greatest obstacle because if people knew what you were really going through, if people knew what you were really struggling with, if people knew the things that actually broke your heart, my question is, would we change? And I remember listening to this motivational speaker getting all fired up, and I was cracking jokes, and he calls me out. He says, hey, funny boy, say, call me white boy. Hey, white boy, stand up. I said, what do you want? He says, you think you're funny? I said, I'm funnier than you. And all my friends were out like, oh, freak, Mike's not good. He says, why don't you tell me about your dad? My dad's great. My dad was a musician. He played with Jerry Lee Lewis, Roy Orbison, Elvis Presley. Maybe you've heard some of those names. He was a musician, good guy. He was the only white guy in our area that had an afro. It was amazing. I loved it. He was a cool guy. He had a great heart, but he says, that's good, but tell me about your mom. And I looked at this guy in front of everybody. Whenever life calls your bluff, you don't even know why you're here today. I mean, maybe we're trying to do something fun, play some music, get you laughing, get you thinking a little bit. And my job in the first session is trying to motivate you, but I said, wait, we might only have 10 minutes, so let me give you something from my heart to your heart, hopefully. And this guy asked me about my mom. You ever had a moment when life calls your bluff where you can't pretend anymore? You can act like you've got it all together, but whenever you don't have to, show up and be the person everybody expects you to be, and the heart of you shows up. It scares the hell out of half of us sometimes. Because we realize that even if I told you it was impossible, even if I told you there was no way to succeed or no way to achieve the dream that's been placed in your heart, friend, that's not just yours. That dream was placed in your heart to be a blessing to everybody out there, like a light. I mean, no darkness any light will dispel the darkness around it. And this guy calls me out. He says, tell me about your mom. And I look at this guy and I was like, don't talk about my mom. You don't know this story. The guy asked me one question. He says, okay, Mr. Funny Man, do you love your mom? I remember standing there with all my friends. You could have heard a pin drop in a room just like this. Everybody's looking at me and I'm like, you know what? I'm done pretending. I'm done trying to make everybody think I'm okay because I can make people laugh and everybody, oh, Mikey's always in a good mood. And I am in a good mood all the time. People ask me, Michael, why are you happy all the time? I tell them I tried sad, I didn't like it. Everybody in here's got 1,000 reasons that you could probably be upset, miserable, bitter, frustrated, angry. But it's up to you to find out the one thing that's going to give you the motivation to keep going, to pick your head up higher. You might have the deck stacked against you, but you're not the deck. You're bigger than that. You've got more inside of you. And maybe we showed up for this little 10 minutes before, because some of you got to go to work. I get it. Some of you got things to do, but I promise you this. If you give us a little bit of your time this afternoon, there's going to be something that's going to stir up inside. Maybe you've been asking, or if you're a praying person, maybe you've been praying. God, I just need some kind of clarity, some kind of hope. And maybe we showed up today to maybe share some of that with you. But the guy asked me, he says, do you love your mom? And I looked at him and I said, I'm not going to lie anymore. And I stood up, I stood up and said, listen, my mom walked out on me. She broke my heart. And I don't love her. My mom's spending time in prison right now for the decisions that she's made. I don't love her. He said, listen, friend, funny boy, if I can prove to you that you love her, would you sit down and listen to my talk? I said, give it your best shot. The guy told me one statement that might help some of you here tonight, this afternoon. He said, if you didn't love your mom, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt. See, one thing I've noticed in all of my travels, and we've done all kinds of crazy things, man. We've had a TV show, we've traveled all the country, we've traveled all the United States. I'm originally from Texas. I live in Calgary now. I met a holy Canadian honey. She's beautiful. I thank God for her every day. Let me tell you something, because I was the guy that never thought I would be able to meet somebody that I could spend the rest of my life with that would love me for me. But sometimes the greatest act of faith is simply faithfulness to stay the course. When that guy looked at me and told me that it wouldn't hurt if you didn't love your mom, I said, that's true. You know why? Because even to this day, I'm standing here and I start this whole session with you in the beginning to let you know I'm not perfect. But you know the one thing that connects us has nothing to do with our successes. We can put money on the table here and we can say money's going to make us happy. Let me tell you something, there's only so much you can buy. I can look at you and say my friends are going to make me happy because look at all my Facebook friends, look at all my Instagram and Twitter and all Snapchat, all this kind of stuff. Listen, at the end of the day, whenever life really hurts, are they there? But yet I pull it back one more time and I realize, you know what the one thing that actually connects us is our pain and our suffering. The things that you've been through in your life and that you have conquered. Your track record for getting through bad days from the day that you're born up until today's day, it's 100%. And I thought to myself, if that's true, and I look at you and I see what you've been through and you're still here today and you might be at St. Anne's Academic and everybody might look at you as, oh, it's that group, it's that school, it's those people. You respond back, yeah, it's us and this is our school and you know what, we're broken and we're not perfect, but we're not giving up. Because the dream that's been placed inside of you is meant to be a light to the world. And all you got to do is shine. Come on. It might be small. You might think it's insignificant. But I turn off all the lights in here, my little light there, whatever it is. What's your name? Yeah. Junior. You don't look like Junior, you look like Senior. Man, look how tall you are. Stand up real quick. Look at this. Okay, so I said, Junior, okay, me, my light, your light, there we go. And then you know, what's your name? Yeah. Daniel, Junior and Daniel, and all of a sudden we kind of gather around here of all of our backgrounds, all of our cultures, all of our status. And you say, hey man, there's nobody really better than anybody, it's just we're here together. So the way that we're going to do it today is we're going to start, we're going to break, we're going to share a meal. Now if you got to go today, you got work to do, man, God bless you, thanks for doing what you got to do. But if you've been in a place in your life, you're thinking to yourself, man, I'm just barely getting through I've got a lot of things going on. Maybe there's something that's going to be said today that's going to stir you up a little bit. We got some good friends of mine coming today. I got my good friend Riku, who's an amazing singer. Mike is going to be playing some drums with us a little bit later on. I got a CFL player going to come talk to you this afternoon as well. Not because we can get people, it's because they actually care. All I did is call them up. I said, hey, could you come help me? They said, who's it for? I said, some of my new friends I'm about to meet. Let's start this day great. You're going into a weekend, a time to kind of hit the pause button. You know what happens on the weekends, don't you? Crazy things sometimes. But before we get into that, let's just set up for the best next day. The goal for all of us is this. Tomorrow becomes better than today. Let me pray for us. We're going to break some bread together. We're going to come back. We're going to have a good time in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Sometimes it's all the prayer that I got. Lord, help us. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Oh yeah, bless the food, Lord. Thank you. Bless us, O Lord. If you know this, bless us, O Lord, these thy gifts, which we're about to receive from the bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So, we did hit it a bit intense right now, but I think you were ready for it and you needed it. I can promise you the rest of the day we're going to lift you up, we're going to make you laugh. Some of you might cry this a little bit, that's okay. I'll give you a hug after. But we're going to share a meal. Your principal here and all the staff and the teachers, incredible. Can we give them a round of applause, by the way? I know this. Tell them they're Before I break, just in case some of you have to leave here, because I get how this goes, I wanted to remind you of one thing. This is the only thing you got to take away from my talk in this afternoon, this one here. I came to tell you, I'll tell this section here first. You ready? You're amazing. But over here, I came to tell you, you're amazing. You're amazing. I didn't say you back there yet. I said over here. Now, all the back and over here, I came to tell you, you're amazing. You're amazing. That's all right. But could you do me one favor? And I know this might be uncomfortable. Look at 2 or 3 people around you right now, right in their eyeballs, and say, "Hey, you're amazing." 3, 2, 1. Let them know.
You're amazing.
Thank you so much, Michael. Awesome. Let's give him a round of applause. So, I wanted to save this for now, but we've got some really neat things we're going to do with you today. We have some poetry slam that's going to happen. If you've never heard poetry slam, it's a version of rap and telling stories, the spoken word. We have the Sisters of the Word that are here, and they're going to do some musical things with us. We're not sure how that's going to look, but they play guitar and they sing and stuff, so that's exciting. We have an open mic. We know we have a lot of musicians in our school and people that like to rap and people like to be brave, maybe get up on an instrument, so we're going to have that opportunity. We've got the CFL, Mike Clausen, who's come in, and of course we're going to hear more from Michael Chason. And believe it or not, there's a St. Anne band called Sick Day. And that's all of our staff, not all of our staff, a good portion of our staff, they're going to get up here and play some music for you. And if you know Miss Dalen's brand new to the band, and she's actually going to be one of the vocalists with Mr. Goldade. So that's going to be an awesome thing. And that's how it's going to play out. So we're hoping you're going to stick around. We understand if you've got other commitments. I don't want to force anyone to be here. It sure would be nice to have students to be a part of this. My staff's getting paid to be here, so they got to be here, but it'd be great if you guys could be here. So how it's going to work is we're going to let you go in groups. You're going to go grab some food next door. I figure for every hot dog you eat, if you give us a half hour of your time, that'd be a good exchange, okay? So I'm going to start with this group of individuals to go next door. We're going to come back here at 12:35. This group of students and of course our sisters, you get to go to the staff room. We got a different meal for you, okay? I'm eating a different meal too. So if you ladies would like to go to the staff room, they've got everything set up for you, okay? The charity's right there, your guide on the side. No pressure. Good exposure that rehearsal day. Really good. Good for you. Keep it going. He doesn't work to make this stuff. It's really impossible. I wanted to with the guitar and everything. It's a little busy, so you're going to have to be patient, but we'll get some food. Other one.
on there? You're not gonna eat? No. Probably anyways. Are you presenting? Are you doing anything for today? Are you ready or are you just chilling? Oh, cool. Yeah, do you have a jam? Do you have a signature?
No, we just did it because Jan's class is just extra time for their test.
What's your style? What's your artist style? Oh, okay. Whoa. Really? Cool. That's awesome. Well, hopefully, yeah. Mike, let's put your hand up. Just get in there. Let's hear it. What are you taking here?
Right now, I'm just in Michigan or religion. They're the only two things I need paper.
Cool. Cool. And where were you previously? Were you
Yeah. This, I was at
Not correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Any chance of getting that?
any chance of your
Yeah, be recorded for a moment.
for that.
It's actually quite
Okay, so I went to Grandin. That was my school. How you liking it here? You sort of wish you kind of went here first.
Oh.
Not really.
I mean, like, not really.
Okay.
I definitely had to go to be able to get my school done.
Yeah,
Regardless of where I was going to have like to deal with it.
for sure. So I went to Grandin for 3 years. And then I walked the stage, but couldn't grade, works for grade 5. So I went here for a semester. When I was here for a semester, upgrading, after I walked the stage, I said, man, I wish I went here for all 3 years. Because Grandin was like 2,000 kids. Right? Like, yeah, but here, at least there's class size, you know, how big is your class size here? In and out. 8 people. 8 people. So can you imagine? You'll never have 8 people living here. Yeah, well, anyways, hopefully you have the courage to go up there and kill it. You get signed a contract I'm Matthew. What's your name? Francis? Oh, it's Who's the religion teacher? Who's the religion teacher?
Test.
Oh, cool. She's worried about the word.
They're hot. Can I just need my space?
We're live on YouTube too.
Somebody else. Really, at 2:40, when the least amount of people are here. Here's my water.
That's strategic.
It is water. Do you need to check it out?
It's not TSA yet. It's not TSA.
That's my water. I don't know what other lips on
Yeah, I'm gonna bring that down a little bit. Francis, are you sure you're okay without any lunch right now?
Oh yeah, my medication is used to be appetite suppressant, so
Oh, is that right?
yeah, ADHD meds are the best of it.
Okay, I guess, but still, as long as you're getting your nutrients right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do they have anything other than hot dogs there, or is it just?
You want the bread maybe? You okay?
Yeah,
I think
no.
there's some bananas and some apples there.
I'm gonna see this.
Yeah, please. Okay. You want to watch this for a second? So this is broadcasting to the cafe, and this is broadcasting to YouTube. So it's just a lot of moving parts. Check it out. You okay? Well, all the stops love that.
I don't know. Just playing.
No, great.
Yeah.
Please excuse the interruption, everyone. If we could ask that you finish your food and make your way back to the learning commons so we can begin. We've got a full agenda for you today, so please make your way back now. Thank you.
You sure you're okay, Francis? There's still lots of food, okay?
Oh, I had like
Okay. So what happens if you, so you take a medication, how adverse effects if you eat with too much food or other foods?
oh no, it's just they used to be prescribed as diets. Appetite suppressant.
Oh, okay, I see.
So yeah, the side effects are loss of appetite to an extreme degree.
It's the last thing you want, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what a green card was for. So
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
A kid showed up to do a test, so
Oh, of course.
that's good.
Yeah.
Well, it's good because it's mine. Here we go.
Just remind everyone we're ready to go, so please make yourself to the learning commons. Go check it out for a bit. Even if you can't stay for the afternoon, that's cool. Come and enjoy the entertainment.
I think we all need a pep talk. The world needs to stop being boring. Yeah, you. Boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're good at that. Life is not a game. people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, are we on the same team? I mean, really, right? I'm on your team, you're on my team. This is life, people. You got air coming through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. A poem. Two roads diverged in the woods, and I took the road less traveled. It hurt, man! Really bad. Rocks, thorns, and glass. My parts broke. Wah! Not cool, Robert Frost, but both they really weren't too bad. I won't give the one that leads to awesome. It's like that dude Journey said, don't stop believing, unless your dream is stupid. Then you should get a better dream. I think that's how it goes. Get a better dream and keep going. Keep going, and keep going. Will Michael Jordan have quit? Well, he didn't quit, but he retired. Yeah, he retired. But before that, in high school, what if he quit when he didn't make the team? He would have never made Space Jam. And I love Space Jam. What will be your Space Jam? What will you create will make the world awesome? Nothing if you keep sitting there. That's why I'm talking to you today. This is your time. This is my time. It's our time. We can make every day better for each other. If we're all on the same team, let's start acting like it. We got work to do. We can cry about it, or we can dance about it. We were made to be awesome. Let's get out there. I don't know everything. I'm just a kid. I do know this. So everybody's good to give the world a reason to thanks. So get to it. You just been pep talk. Create something that will make the world awesome.
You know, I've thought constantly about this idea of motivation. And what it truly means to be motivated. It's not so much this, right? Maybe you've heard this before, like, I don't like motivational speakers. That's probably why you need one, by the way. But I'm talking about the kind of motivation, watch, that gives you the motive to do the things that you never thought you would have the courage or the will or the ability to do. The motive, the drive, the passion. I mean, for me, every day waking up, it's the kind of experience I have every day. It's like, you know what? I'm not done yet. There's some things I still got to get better at. I gotta be a better father. I gotta be a better husband. I mean, because my kids look up at me every day, and it breaks my heart sometimes when I have to leave if they're having a hard time. Because what I've realized, and the reason why I stay motivated, is because I understand the value in what God gave me to be a blessing to everybody else. But like I told you in the very beginning, sometimes the greatest mountain you're ever going to have to face is the person that we see in the mirror. But it gets me excited when I hear stories of people that actually got motivated to do something. There was this kid named Jason who loved basketball so much. And he's sitting in his chair at school, and he hears on the announcements that there's basketball tryouts after school. This kid's heart starts beating fast, man. He's like, oh, I'm freaking jacked up. He goes to the door of the gym, and he stands at the door of the gym, and he watches. Everything in this kid wanted to run out there and give it a shot. But why didn't he go? Because fear crippled him. Can you relate? You ever had a moment in your life when you know you were supposed to do something, but fear just overwhelmed you? I mean, you may try to act like you were hard and you had it all together, but deep down you were terrified, right? You want to know when you're most alive? It's when your fears scream the loudest. I mean, deep down your heart beats fast and your fears scream loudest.
Interruption. Whoever ordered skip the dishes, your order is here.
Round of applause on whoever that was. That was a good idea. Somebody didn't like the hot dog. Okay, anyway, that's. But here's the thing about this kid, Jason. Jason's standing at the door of this gym, and he wants to go in, but he can't. You know what the kid does? He never goes in. In their high school, it was grade 9 to 12. Is that your food? That is so good. All right, there we go. Grade 9 to 12, right? That was their high school. So in grade 10, he's sitting in the class like he was the year before, and he hears the same thing. But just like the year before, the kid stands at the door of the gym, and he just watches, right? Fear. I mean, what would happen if we actually took a step into the things that scared us the most. I mean, I think what we would recognize and realize is that, first of all, we had what it was going to take to get through it. I mean, if you look at your track record from the day that you were born up until today's date, your track record of getting through the bad days, you aced that test. Every fear that you thought was impossible, every moment that you thought it was not going to happen, here you are today. And so Jason, having this fear overwhelm him, grade 11, he does the same thing, but grade 12, this was his last opportunity. And he sits like he did every year, and he hears the announcements, and he gets passionate and fired up. So you've got to recognize the things that excite you. The things that excite you give you the will and the determination, the drive to do something great. But watch this. On grade 12, he stands at the door of the gym like every other year, but this time he takes off and he runs in. He's like, Coach, 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 Coach. Coach is like, what? He says, Coach, I want to be a part of the team. All the teammates gathered around. They said, ooh, let's watch. This is going to be good. And the coach looks at Jason with all sincerity and says, Jason, listen, man, I'm sorry, but it's probably not going to work out for you. All the teammates just kind of didn't know what to say, so they put their head down. But Jason, because we've been taught this, right? We've been taught when we hear the things that we don't really want to hear but crush us. We want to make sure that everybody knows that we're good and we're tough and we're strong. And so Jason stops and he says, hey, Coach, I was just kidding, man. Hey, Coach, I just showed up to wish you guys the very best. Hey, Coach, I'm going to come to every game. I'm going to sit at half court, man. I'm going to paint my face. I'm going to cheer. I'm going to be the craziest fan. I'm all in on this, Coach. Hey, guys, have a good season, but don't worry about me. I'm good. I'm fine. Hey, guys, I'm good. I'm fine. As he's walking saying, I'm good. I'm fine. Is he good and fine? You know he's not. But see, the story that we tell about ourselves will always become the story that we follow, period. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. In other words, I'm no good. I'm never going to win. I guess that's just the way it is. I'll never meet the person. I'll never get into the school. I'll never get the job. And all of a sudden, the story that you speak out about you typically becomes a story that you begin to live out in reality. So how do we start to change? Start to change the talk about how you talk about you. When I get up in the morning, good morning. I'm awake. My wife's like, who are you talking to? I said, myself. She goes, you're weird. I'm like, you married me? But you think about it, like we all talk to ourselves. You're like, I don't. Yes, you do. Everybody tells yourself the story. I just want that story to be true, good, beautiful, pure, and honest, and right. I mean, that's how God designed us. And that will excite us and motivate us. But here he is, the story. I'm good, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm fine. But once, here's where you figure it out. Once he gets out of the sightlines of people, the real Jason shows up. You see, eventually the real you is going to show up. The bigger question is, are you okay with it? Are you truly okay with the real you? And I think for many of us the answer is no. That we're not okay with how we really are. Not saying that we don't want to be better, but just saying that, man, there's some things that have to change. And we can look at every excuse out there, every person that's hurt us, every person that's walked out on us, every person that has promised something and let us down. We can look at our excuses of what we were brought into this world. You didn't get to choose your family. You didn't get to choose your race and ethnicity. You didn't get to choose your status and finance or anything like that. You came as a gift. And maybe the setback, the not so good stuff, actually becomes your setup to show the world that you have what it takes to achieve the things that were placed on your heart in the first place. Now here he is. He's sitting there. Once he gets out of the sightlines of people, the I'm good, I'm fine story changes to, man, I guess they're right. I guess I'm no good. I guess who would even care if I wasn't even here anymore? See, it's funny, isn't it, that when you start getting into that bad space in the mind and in the heart, you will start thinking of things that we don't realize the impact that it can have, not on you, but on your family and your friends. And as he's walking, he said, who would even care anyways if I was even here tomorrow? And then something clicked. The kid drew the line in the sand. He says, I'm not going there anymore. I'm not going to think that way anymore. Even if I start to go there, I'm going to change. I'm going to get back up. Not a question of are you going to fall down and mess up. The question is, when you fall down and mess up, are you going to fall forward so when you get up, you're further ahead? Isn't that good? I mean, come on, let's be intentional about that. But then here he is, he says, not today, and he turns around, he runs back in, he says, coach. He's like, what is this, coach? I am going to be a part of this team. All the teammates said, ooh, let's watch, this is going to be real good. And the coach says, what are you going to do? Jason gives a speech. He says, coach, I can't shoot the ball like that guy. Coach, I'll never have hair as good as that guy. Coach, I'll never be able to rap as good as this guy or play drums as good as Michael. He said, Coach, I can't even play basketball. Coach says, that's a problem. He says, no, Coach, what are you going to do? Coach says, hey, Jason, what are you going to do? He says, Coach, he puts his shoulders back, he says, I'm going to be the basketball team manager. Everybody starts laughing at him. He looks at all the teammates laughing, he goes, what are you laughing at? How many games did you win last year? Dang. He says, Coach, oh, by the way, I'm going to show up to every practice. I'm going to come early, I'm going to stay late. Coach, at the games, I'm going to wear a shirt and a tie just like you. Coach, I'm probably going to look a little better than you. Don't feel bad, it's just the way it is. Hey, Coach, if the ref gives a bad call, wink at me 3 times, I'll jump on the back of the referee, I'll poke him in his eyeball. Coach, I'm all in. Coach says, calm down. Not a contact violence sport. But the coach looks at the passion of this kid. He knew this kid was scared. He knew this kid couldn't do what everybody else did. But this kid found himself a place. You see, if you don't feel like you got a place, stand up and make a place. Because you're not just taking up space. If you have air in your lungs and you're breathing right now, you are under construction. There's a story that's meant to be told. There's a story inside of you that the world needs to hear. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. But who the hell likes a perfect story? I like to hear the stories of people that fell down, got back up, and were stronger because of it. I like to see the people in life that had a bunch of mess-ups and they didn't do well. For me, I failed the 7th grade. I was never good in school. I can't remember things half the time, but somehow God gave me the gift of communication and playing music. Sometimes I get scared to death to get up here. Maybe I just get up here and I freeze. Maybe I get up here and I mess my stories all up. Maybe I get up here and I just bomb it and I don't connect with it. And I can let that fear drive me, or I can show up and say, you know what, rather I give you the insight that's going to help you become the better you for tomorrow, or maybe start to explore your faith a little bit more. If I just show up, I realize that was more than enough. See, maybe we showed up to let you see something in yourself that you can't yet see in yourself. Coach looks at Jason and says, Jason, you got the job. And Jason was faithful. Every game, every practice. He came early, he stayed late. The last game of the season, the coach says, what would it be like if I let him actually suit up? Just to feel what it's like to be a part of the team. I mean, what if I let Jason actually play? Well, what if my man throws the ball over here and he gets it, he shoots it, and he airballs and everybody points and laughs? Jason, in a devastating moment, looks at the coach and says, Coach, you knew better. And Jason's coach becomes Jason's excuse. Let me explain. You want to know what I've learned about a lot of us in this room? Is that the reason why we're terrified to risk and to maybe take a step of faith if you've never done that before? Is because somebody has become your excuse and you've allowed them to remain your roadblock from moving ahead. I'm not saying what they've done is right. I'm not saying how they did it was okay. What I am saying, though, is that here we are today. You are still here. You made it through it. You're not done yet. And how dare we allow that person or that situation to continue to determine how we're going to choose to live our tomorrow. Got it? Let's make a decision. Let's recognize it. But let's continue to walk forward. But the coach says, even if I have to become this kid's excuse, what would it be like if this kid actually knew somebody believed in him? So the last game of the season, he did what was on his heart to do. Let me show you what happened when this coach decided to give this kid a chance. Check this out.
Grace Athena High School in Rochester, New York has a new, most unlikely hero, a special ed student by the name of Jason McElwain.
Let's keep it going.
Jason is the basketball team manager. For the past couple years, he's been assisting Coach Jim Johnson, helping with whatever the team needs.
And go! Get him
I hand out water and just be enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic, to say the least. Despite being born with autism, Jason's father says his son has never had a problem expressing himself at basketball games.
I was always concerned that he might get a technical and they lose a game because he, start yelling or whatever.
Let's have a hard practice tomorrow. All hour and a half. And let's get ready for Arcadia. Let's go.
1, 2, 3, 2.
Because he has been so devoted to the team, for the last game of the season, Coach Johnson decided to let Jason actually suit up. Not to play necessarily, just to let him feel what it's like to wear a jersey.
At least that was the plan. But with 4 minutes to go in last week's game, Coach Johnson stood up and pointed to number 52, Jason McElwain. After years of fetching water and toweling off other people's sweat, Jason was actually in a game. His first shot was a 20-footer from the right baseline.
Was it close? Did you almost make it?
I just airballed it.
I'm like, just, dear God, please, let's just get him a basket.
His second shot missed too, but the third was a chunk. A 3-point no-doubter. And Jason wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot.
If I wasn't there to witness it, I wouldn't have believed it,
You caught fire. I just caught fire. I was hot as a pistol.
Jason ended up shooting 6 3-pointers. One right after the other. He had 20 points total, and each time a shot went in, his teammates and the crowd went a little crazier. His last basket, right at the buzzer, created total mayhem. Because he is autistic, Jason says he's used to feeling different, but never this different. Never this wonderful. Steve Hartman, CBS News, Rochester, New York.
Life calls you bluff. You have the moment to shine, to show up. I think the first start of anything like that is to just actually show up. I mean, half the time we don't realize what's in front of us because we've never got there to see what the opportunity was. When I was a kid, I used to love wrestling, to be honest with you. I had a cousin of mine who was a referee at the time. It was called WWF. And his role was to drive the ring around. And every time in Houston, Texas, where I was from, when the wrestling came to Houston, we got to meet all the wrestlers. I remember meeting all the big guys and all the strong guys, and I looked at them like, man, you could eat me for breakfast. That's crazy. You're huge. And I remember I was given this T-shirt. You remember that guy Hulk Hogan? Remember him? And I got a Hulk Hogan T-shirt. I'll never forget this moment. We were at the local swimming pool. We used to always play wrestling. And there was this one girl there. I remember her name. Her name was Jennifer Hesse. And Jennifer was over there, and I wanted to impress her, and it was my turn to show up. And so I said, guys, I'll be right back. And I ran home, and I got that Hulk Hogan shirt. And I put it on, I ran back to the swimming pool, and it was my turn to kind of show up and wrestle and have some fun and impress the girl. And I got out there, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to rip this shirt off like Hulk Hogan, but you needed something, and I didn't have muscles, right? And so I get out there, and I stand there, and I go like this, and I go to rip it, and it won't rip, and everybody's starting to point and laugh, and I had a moment. I could have stopped and been defeated by it, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to let this moment overtake me. I ran into the office of that swimming pool. I grabbed some scissors. I cut down the shirt. I ran back out there. I ripped it off. I threw it out there, and everybody starts clapping, and Jennifer's like, how you doing? I said, just fine. That didn't work, by the way. But what's the point? I learned at a young age that we had to do something about this thing called life when it comes at us. I never knew that when I got married and I met the girl of my dreams and I met the person I was going to have the opportunity to spend the rest of my life with, I never knew that right when we got engaged that she was going to be diagnosed with cancer. I never knew that time was going to become so valuable to us, that every moment was going to have to matter. And even though emotionally I didn't feel like being in there and showing up sometimes, I didn't feel like dealing with it, the reality of time began to speak loudly. She asked me, Michael, you still going to marry me? I said, girl, you're not getting rid of this. Come on. And there were days that she was having a tough day and I was being good. And there were days that I was, vice versa. But at the end of the day, I realized that the people that we love and that we care about, the gifts that God gives us, right? That sometimes when they're hurting, our job is not to fix them. Our job is not to show up to put it all back together because we become the Savior. You ever tried to be the person that always has all the answers? And some of you are so wise at your age. Some of you can speak so much wisdom because of what you've been through. But at the same time, the pressure of being a Savior is impossible. That's why we have a Savior. But the question is, we don't trust what that relationship is like at times. Because we don't think that if God is real and God is true and God is always with us and God is for us and God is forgiveness and love and peace, then where is it and why can't I see it? These are real questions that you and I have. And I think that we've got to have the courage to ask them. Don't be afraid of that. You see, when my wife was diagnosed with that cancer, I wanted to take it away, but my job was to simply be there with her. I realized time was important. Time was valuable. We prayed, yes. Was I mad? All the time. But did I make a decision to remain faithful? Absolutely. But I couldn't do it without people around me. You know, we find out through that whole journey that my wife goes through 2 surgeries and she becomes cancer-free. We thank God for that every day. The doctor tells us that we're going to be able to raise a family. And I got excited when she was going through the treatments. We couldn't have any kids because she was medically it was tough. But once we got the thumbs up, I was like, it's time. Let's go home. And it was fun, okay, by the way. I went there. Yes, I did. Was it too soon? Okay, sorry. How do you think you got here? Anyways, sorry. But if you think about this for a moment, watch. We find out that we are going to be able to start a family. And I'm flying through this part of the story because maybe some of you have heard me speak before. Maybe some of you know my story already. But I want to get us in a space, on a level, that what's going on today and all the experience that you're going to have is not people coming at you trying to get you to do something that some of us are not willing to fight through. Because it would be easy just to say, hey, yeah, you know, I'm going to be good, and I'm going to make good decisions, and I'm going to be a healthy person. I'm going to be a faith. I'm actually going to give my faith a chance. But then what happens when life comes? And that gets tested. You know, our first son, we found out that we were going to, well, I wasn't pregnant, Melissa was pregnant, I helped, but it was fun. My part was fun, her part was going to be painful, I think. And there's a reason why us guys probably can't have kids, because we can't handle it. Ladies, you were amazing. Like, I'm telling you something, I had a hangnail when Melissa was going through labor, and I told the nurse my hangnail hurts. She almost slapped me in the face. I'm like, well, you gave her medicine. I need medicine too, because, you know, this hurts. And they're like, no, it doesn't work that way. I'm like, why? Am I not good enough for the medicine? They're like, shut up. Melissa's like, I'm going to kill you. I don't know why. But we're going through this whole thing, and our son, Jacob, and I'm just going to throw it out there, and I'm not expecting you to get emotional with me or anything like that. I'm just going to be honest about my story here, is that our son Jacob was with us for 24 minutes. For 24 minutes, it was as if heaven kissed earth. For 24 minutes, it was as if we saw what beautiful miracles can happen like every day. For 24 minutes, I got to hold my son and tell him how much I loved him. 24 minutes later, my son, in my arms, took his last breath. And it broke my heart. Why do I tell you that? Because the value of time. You don't realize that when we invest time in the things that are good, true, beautiful, right, holy, and pure, the investment that happens like you're doing right now, you don't realize the impact of what's going to come out of that. Maybe something that is said today, that you hear, that you see, when you get to a moment over the next week, the next month, the next year, that you're going to bump up against something and you're going to think back, hey, you remember that? Remember what I heard? Remember, the setback becomes maybe the set up for a future that is farther and brighter than I could have ever imagined. Think of it like a slingshot. Every time you get pushed back a little bit, just think of the slingshot pulling you back, because when it comes to that moment that you're ready, an example, if I told you that you can have a full bank account, would you be happy? If I put $1 million in your bank account, you'd be happy? You think life would be better? Way better, really? Okay, well, here's the truth about that, just to get us on the same page, what I'm talking about. Setback, setback, setback. If you can't manage $1, how in the world are you going to manage $1 million? The gifts that you've been given, start using them for the good now. Don't tell me that once you have everything together, then you're going to be a generous person. Don't tell me that once you have all the money and you have all the stuff, then you're going to be more loving and caring. Start with what you've got here and now. though my son was only with us for 24 minutes, here's what we learned from that. 24 became significant. 24 hours, 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. That's what we've got today. And somehow we've been put in this room together. Somehow all of our backgrounds, all of our belief systems, all of our stories and pains and sufferings and successes, here we are today. I mean, could you imagine if we could fast forward 10, 20 years down the road and see where all of us have ended up? And we could tell some success stories, and you could tell your older self, man, hey, don't forget, because you're still awesome. Or you could fast forward so your older self could tell your younger self something right now. What would it be? There's people right now looking up to you. They're looking up to you to say, hey, you're fighting through whatever that is. And I'm standing here today not so that you can feel bad. I'm standing here today because we've made a decision to live out the convictions of our heart perfectly. Absolutely not. We are under construction. But maybe there's something that you have to face today that might be an excuse that you've been making. You can't blame other people for the decisions that you have a control to make over. Let me give you an example. If I were to show you a thermometer right now, let's say you got a fever, right? And I were to give you the thermometer is only going to tell you what your temperature is, right? That's what it's all going to do. And I think for a lot of us here, that's what happens. We go around and we tell everybody, hey, look at this person, look at that person, look at my life. But I've decided instead of the thermometer, I want it to be the thermostat. I want to be the things that changes the temperature. So that when you go into an environment, you go into a situation, put yourself in my shoes for a moment. Here we are with 50, 75, 100 of us here. And double that with the eyeballs looking at me right now. We're all trying to figure out something here that's going to be worthy and good. But yet we take a moment, we pause, 24 hours a day, 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. That's what we've got today. So here's what I want you to do for me if you don't mind. Everybody stand to your feet for a second. Everybody stand to your feet. Everybody stand to your feet. Everybody stand to your feet. Do me a favor if you don't mind. 3 people around you, look at them, shake their hand, give them a side hug and tell them you're amazing. Go tell somebody back over there, your teacher, if you don't mind.
Amazing.
All right, you may be seated. You may be seated. Hey, one of the things that we've got some great things happening for you today. We are going to take a pause out of this day. We're going to give you guys a break in about 25 minutes, just to kind of stretch a little bit. When you come back from that break after what's happening next, we've got a good friend of mine, Mr. Mike Klassen, who plays for the Ottawa Red Blacks. He played for the Stampeders. He played for Alouettes, wherever that is. Where's that? Montreal. Okay. All that kind of stuff. He'll be here today sharing some good stories with you. And then I've got a good friend of mine, Rika, who's an incredible singer, going to share with you her gifts. But listen, I am so thankful that you are here today. I'm excited to journey a little bit more as we get down the road. But before we do that, one more story. In the 5th grade, how many of you guys remember elementary school? How many of you remember one part of elementary school, recess? Remember recess? How many of you think we need to bring recess back to being teenagers and adults now? Anybody with me? I'm on a campaign for that, so there you go. But I remember this one story, and I got this for you, maybe you can relate. There was this kid named Joel. Joel was in 5th grade. Let me give you some background about him. In 5th grade, he was already in a gang, trying to make money for his family. I didn't know his story. Okay, and Joel was standing on the jungle gym at recess. And I remember I wanted to go up to play on that jungle gym, but nobody could because Joel was like the bully. He'd stand there, right? And one day I said, I've had enough. And so I climbed up and I went to the back of Joel. And he couldn't see me. He's about 3 times bigger than me. And I said, Joel! And he used to call me white boy. He turned around and says, what do you want, white boy? I said, I want you to be my friend. And he looks at me and goes, white boy ain't nobody's friend. Get off here. I said, I ain't leaving. And I said, hey, Joel. And I reached in my pocket. I had these Now Later candies. I just bought some the other day. I found them here in Canada. It's amazing. And I pulled these candies. They're kind of like Starburst. And I pulled this candy out. And I said, Joel. I said, you like Now Later candies? He goes, yeah, they're all right. I said, you want one? He says, I said, you can't have one. You're not my friend. And I opened it up and put it in my mouth. I'm like, good. I said, Joel, if you're my friend, you can have one, but you're my friend, you can't have one. And I reached in my pocket, and I had one more, and I pulled it out. I said, Joel. I said, I got one more. I said, Joel, you gonna be my friend? He says, all right, white boy, I'll be your friend. I said, here you go. Now, the interesting thing about this, the moment I jumped off that jungle gym and started walking around, then people just started be messing with me. And Joel from across the school is like, hey, that's my white boy friend, leave him alone. I'm like, that's right, you mess with me, he's gonna eat you, whatever. And I had like confidence, right? I was all confident. Now, a few weeks later, we was in the same class in 5th grade. Joel never came to school. And I asked the teacher after the second day, I said, excuse me, her name was Miss Minter. I said, Miss Minter, I said, where's Joel? I'll never forget this. She grabs a chair, she pulls it up, and she sits down. She says, hey class, I gotta tell you something about Joel. Joel was involved in an accident. And Joel's not gonna be coming back to school today, but if you're a praying person, you can pray for him. He's just in the hospital, we don't know how it's gonna be. Now, I never knew what happened to Joel. All I knew was that he was in 5th grade, in a gang, selling some things he shouldn't have been selling. A deal went bad, a car ran him over, he ends up in the hospital in a coma. He does survive the coma, but I never saw Joel again. I never knew what happened to him. Fast forward to a few years ago, I got a phone call that my dad got sick, and so I flew down to Houston. And I'm in the hospital because my dad's already in surgery. And I'm walking down the hospital just praying. I'm like, God, if I could just say that I love my dad, how thankful I am for him, could I just give that time? And as I'm walking, I'm praying, I hear behind me this voice that's like, Michael. I said, Jesus, don't do that. And I keep walking. I'm like, no. I was like, God, don't, that's scary. Don't mess with me like that. But God, if you can help me. And I hear it again, Michael. This time I just turned around. When I turn around, I see this big guy next to me. He's tall, he's got all this bling all over me, he's got gold teeth. My only response was like, man, you shiny. I said, who are you? He said, your name is Michael Chesson. I said, the fact that you know my name scares me. I said, are we okay? I said, who are you? He says, you don't know who I am? No. He looks at me again, he says, hey, Michael, you remember the 5th grade? I said, what do you mean? He says, you remember the 5th grade on the jungle gym? No. You remember the now and later candy? I said, what? Who are you? He said, Michael, my name is Joel. I said, you're Joel? I was like, you rich. Look how shiny you are. He said, Mike, you want to know something? I said, I don't think I have a choice not to know something, so you go ahead and tell me something. He says, I've never forgot what happened in the 5th grade. He says, my whole life, I do things that I'm not proud of. Even to this day, I was like, well, you should change what you're doing. He says, I don't need a lecture. Okay. He says, but you know what? Some things that's got me through the toughest days. I said, what's that? I think back to this little white boy in 5th grade that made me be his friend because he just wanted to be my friend. He didn't want anything because of it. And I told myself, if I ever had the chance to meet and see you again, I just want to say thank you. I said, that's it? He said, yeah. I said, you're welcome. And I run up to him, I give him a big hug, I'm just holding on, he goes, get off. I said, okay, don't hurt me. But I thought about that, we never realize the impact that we have for the people around us, even though we might not know their whole story. I got these little kids that, I'll play that video for you later, but let me tell you something. Everything that we do, we're planting seeds each and every day. So when we tell you that you're amazing, we believe that. Even though you may not believe it yet, we believe it. We want you to rise to that compliment. What we're going to do now is we're going to share some gifts from your school, of the people around you. Do me a favor, getting up here is not easy. It's like risking. It's like Jason when he's like, oh man, I'm good, I'm fine. And sometimes this is a time that somebody's going to step up and show a gift, show a talent, and give them the best, applause that you can, because it's an amazing moment. I'm going to turn it over to you, sir. It is your turn to now take it over. All right, St. Anne, let's give these guys a big round of applause if you don't mind.
everybody. I'm John Williamson. I am the Poetry Slam coach. And we're still looking for some people for Poetry Slam, so if anything you see here today interests you a little bit, we have meetings every Wednesday in room 204. And even if you're a little bit on the shy side, like me, if you think about it, I like doing Poetry Slam because I can control the conversation for 3 minutes. Having a regular conversation is much more terrifying than performing once you get used to performing. But before you hear anything from me, I'd like to call out a couple of my prize slammers whose names rhyme a little bit, Seth and Steph, and they're going to do some Poetry Slam poems for you right now. Here's a tip for you kids, always adjust the mic from the bottom, and you want the mic to be at about a fist's length from your face. That'll be $25 for that.
I was always told that when thunderstorms were happening, it was just God bowling, and the thunder was his bowling ball hitting the lanes. I still believe that now. I find them inspiring for how they make the sky look. It can look scary at some points if you're a little kid, but although it may look scary, it smells wonderful too. I love that smell of rain because everything smells so fresh. It makes you want to go outside and dance, sing in the rain because it's a beautiful thing.
And a couple Poetry Slam traditions. If you hear some ideas you like during a poem, you can snap. The reason we do that, everybody snap a little bit. The reason we keep snapping is because you can still hear the words and hear the appreciation at the same time, whereas if you're applauding, it doesn't work as well. So if you hear some good things you want to snap to Seth's poem, then do that. And the other thing to get the crowd excited, I do, like I say poetry and then you say rocks, but you have to say it really loud, not like I just did. So poetry, poetry, poetry. All right, come on up. I think we're ready for it.
Hello, my name is Seth. This is actually a song I wrote called Death. And it's about the kind of, you don't know what's gonna happen after you pass on. And I've had this discussion with countless friends before, and I decided to write a song about it, but I'll be saying it as a poem form. If you fear death, is it truly death itself that you fear? Or is it something else? Is it actually the fear of how you die that becomes scary? Or is it the fear of what happens after death that we are all afraid of? Who's to know? If it's the time or if it's the line that we all cross once in our lives. Who's to know? If we're all sane, if we're not insane. Oh, it's ingrained in my brain when the death's at the door, knocking real hard to bring you home. Oh girl, your home isn't here anymore. You're my death song. I tend to sing along when you're on. You're my death song. I tend to sing along whenever you're on. I called my friend in heaven, and he said it's all white. I then called my friend in hell, and he said, hell? Oh, it's all right. But where was this when the non-believers asked for proof? Or where was this when we all meet death face to face? Oh, where was this? When I hear my last breath, when my eyes slumber, that's my death song. I always sing along when it's on. That's my death song. I hope you sing along when I'm gone.
rapper, you can be a hipster, you can be deep, whatever. So we're embracing of all styles of poetry slam. We have a provincial competition that we're training for on May 3rd and 4th. So if any of you are interested, it'll probably be your last chance as a high school student to compete in a provincial anything. So why not? Is it okay if I do like a couple of poems just like real quick for you? Is that all right? Okay, all right. Said one of my shirts to the other, sure you now sit, proud and hopeful, draped over his shoulders, hugging his torso. But do you really think he'd be seen with you outside of this house or even very far past this closet? Dark, like way past his bedtime. Festooned with flowing flowers he probably doesn't even know the names of, petals too delicate to see the light of day, and rows of fancy buttons prancing down the front like the silly soldiers in the Nutcracker ballet he's never seen. Slim fitting when he's insecure and grew up on 90s bulky. Did you really think he was ever going to pull you off except to pull you off and wrap you around that cold hanger at the last minute after changing his mind like he always does? Sure, he thinks he's getting braver, more expressive, artistic, flamboyant even. His heart's in the right place, but he can never hold this kind of change in his pocket. So hang loose, hang low, hang tight, hang anyhow you like except on him in public. You extrovert shirt, you bougie blouse, you all-too-apparent apparel. Because it's time that you know the thing that I do, and believe me, him too, right down to his bones. The nail that sticks up gets pounded down, and today the roll of the hammer will be played grimly and gravely. Played stay in your lane, please, by dependable me, the gray polo shirt he wears every Tuesday. So you see, even a shirt can be a bully, so don't let your shirts bully you in your closet. We just got like 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to let everybody of our wonderful performers get on with the rest of the show. This is about how people that are a little bit quiet are sometimes putting out a little bit more effort doing just the regular things, and we don't always give them credit for doing those things. How many people are a little bit, I just ask you to shout if you're shy, but that probably wouldn't work. But I imagine some of you probably feel a little bit like that, right? I don't think I lack confidence any more than you do. I just got a slow metabolism for social nutrition. A little goes a long way, too much, and I'm so full I can't even move in my headspace. Or if parties are more like the sugary snacks, I can take maybe like half a cookie. Now this one time I was ripping tickets in the Market Mall movie theater before they tore it down, and this mall rat dude walks in with no shirt on. And I guess in a way he had a right to be topless, and he's all tall and taut and flowing back rock video wind tunnel hair, probably a nipple ring too, not that I was looking. And I said, hey listen young punk, we'll have none of that gigolo stuff, not here in my theater. No shirt, no shoes, no movie, have some decorum. Now if you want to stay, there's a lost and found, zip into a jacket and sit and watch your matinee like some kind of gentleman. Yeah, I settled that to him in my head. So I was ripping his ticket and letting him by. But then I went and turned up the air conditioning because I don't lack confidence any more than you do. I survived brushes with death, like the time I ate so much peanut butter that it lodged in my throat and I tried to wash it down with milk and that didn't work, so I did self-Heimlich, and the rest of that story is not for the faint of heart. Or when my electric blanket burned a hole right through my mattress, but it didn't touch me because death wouldn't know what to do. Such a tough customer. I drink alone occasionally, like the country song sings so boldly, which I don't even get, because how is that any braver than pooping alone? Or brushing your teeth alone? Or singing in the shower with the bathroom fan on, so no one can hear, or dancing. Like nobody's watching. But only if I'm sure no one is actually watching. Oh yeah, I once went 20 rounds with a punching bag in my basement, all jabs and hooks, knees and crosses, scratches and curses. The dust mites were unable to watch the brutality. I walked away with a split decision. So anyhow, I just want you to know when I do occasionally say something, if I seem a bit quiet, my words haven't just sped through an empty head over a fast lane, tongue out, loose lips. They crossed deserts of prevarication, swam moats of self-censorship, scaled walls of analysis, dodged arrows of awkwardness, and fought dragons of doubt. So if they seem a little out of breath, these words, don't misjudge them. They've been through hell. They still made it to you.
You got to give one more round of applause for those three awesome people that came up. That's incredible. Wow. Courage! Now, I had to hit the pause button for a second because we were going to do this a little bit later, but Beckham back there, I met him yesterday. We came to drop some equipment off, and he said, I hear that this guy can spit some rhyme a little bit and he can rap, and I'm like, okay, let's see what you got. And I heard him in the sound check. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's really good. So he's got to do something for me. So Beckham, get up here for a second if you don't mind. I'm going to get this track on for you, but you got to unlock your phone because it's like 9,000 letters there for you. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Beckham.
All right, check 1, 2. All right. Dropped on a reason on top, there ain't no reason I can fuck or even everything to stop. Yeah, I just keep going and I'm going till the end of top behind the sky, but people wanna shoot me down like what? Open your ears and listen up, I got my bones in the track, I'm not a sign of noises, rock, come on, you know it's straight facts. What else do I gotta say with words to I trapped or I attack? One of these days I'll be caught some slack. This beat is a vibe and I wanna prescribe all you fools music for medication, it's the best time. When you're in the zone and you already know the creativity can shine out like the finger of E.T. It's a sensation, revelation, discovered to meditation, power of the lyrics, and especially pronunciation. Sounding clear and concise is a key to less strife, and if you want to make it in this game, then be ready to put up a fight. Mean what I say, and I say what I mean. If you get it, just tell me to give me the peas, cause I'm trying to get rich and be selling out shows while I'm making money moves on the download. A young white prodigy, unrecognized, it's always cheap, but don't come begging at my feet when I expel from all the heat. I just want a record deal, that's I want to feel. I don't know how to end this verse, I'm just gonna put that mic down.
Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. Weeds. I'm the religious ed teacher. I teach online religious education for Calgary Catholic. So some of you are my students. If you've never met me, this is me. Thanks for having me up here. I just wanted to introduce some lovely women. They are the Sisters of the Seeds of the Word. And I don't know, can I, just by a round of like hands that I can barely see, how many of you have ever met a religious sister? That's way more than I thought. That's fantastic. So these women are actually under the age of 30, and they are from Brazil. And they have come to Canada, some of them about 3 years ago. Some have been here for 1 week. So if everyone could please give a huge round of applause to these
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sister Mary Elizabeth, and then the sisters will introduce themselves.
My name is Sister Edith Maria.
My name is Sister Agatha. I'm from Brazil.
My name is Ingrid. I'm from Brazil too.
I'm Taina. I am from Brazil.
I'm Rafaela.
I'm Anna. The easiest one, Anna. So, as our sister said, and we were presented, we are Seeds of the Word from Brazil. We have been here in the diocese for almost 5 years, myself, and then a couple of the sisters 2 years, and then the other 4 just 1 week. So in this cold winter. And so we came today to see your school, to stay with you guys, and just to appreciate what the school have done for all of you, and also to encourage you to continue your journey, what you are trying to do, what you are struggling to. And we are under 30, so in our lives, we were not angels, we weren't born angels or even sisters. We had our families, our difficulties that we had in our lives also. And the religious life, the vocation that we have, or some of our sisters are discerning, is an answer from God for what we had in our hearts. It's not something magical, but it's an answer, what we always looked for. My community, our community, is a missionary community. We are not sisters who are in one convent just praying and doing our work there. That is amazing. The sisters will do that. But we are missionaries as well. We have our life of prayer, but then time to go to different places, different countries, learn a new language, so we're still struggling with English. But to help people to understand their faith, their journey, their life, and to share what we have found. So we found the answers to our life, and we also want to try to help others to understand what they have been going through, what they want to do with their lives, and to pray for the world, for the ones who ask our prayers. So the first point is, many of you said you have seen a sister before. But many of our young people and young adults, they haven't seen a sister or talked to them. And our mission, our vocation is also to be here to say, don't be scared. We are normal people. And our vocation is also to help you, to help your lives. And anytime that you need prayers or advice, or just to say, sister, pray for me, or pray for my life, for this. This is also our joy and our vocation. And Rafaela, she asked me, sister, can I say something to them? And I said, yeah, sure, you can. So she has something to share with you.
So just to make short story, when I was 13, my parents moved to the United States. I went to high school, and it was a nightmare for myself. And during high school, I started faking IDs, and I was almost arrested by the FBI. And that's when I had my first experience with God. So I just want to say it's worth to question ourselves why we are in this world, what it's worth for us to do, what is the meaning of life. Okay, keep going.
Many times, as we heard Michael, and we know, we don't have a perfect life. And when we want to pursue a career or a vocation, we say, oh, but my life has been so broken, I have done so many things. But it is never the end. We always can start over again. We can start again. And if, I don't know, any of you may have thought about becoming a priest, or a religious sister, or a holy merit, being holy. It's not like, oh, the saints in the altar in the church. No, it's not that. It's having a pure life, being true to yourself, to what God wants for you. You can do that. You are worth it. You can. And our vocation is to pray for you and to also say, we are here also for you, and say, don't give up. You can do it. You can accomplish what you have, what your dreams are. You can. You just, as our amazing Michael is trying to tell us, you can. Depends just on you. Thank you.
No, so sisters, thank you so much. But it's come to my attention that some of you have musical talents. And so I know Charity's saying, no, let them off the hook. We want to be kind. But 20 to 30 years old, I would like to see if somebody could come up and
Sing with Michael.
Who wants to see it?
Graham.
Anybody?
I'm talking about courage here, right? We got a drummer. Who's got a beautiful voice that can sing something? Come on, we had our students come up. Who's got the gift? You learning the guitar? We got a guitar for you. You sing in Portuguese? We love Portuguese. Who wants to hear it up for Portuguese? Woo, woo, woo! Come help her. Come on, this is a sister family here. We gotta get you up to help. Who else do you need? Do you need another guitarist? We got one guitarist, two guitarists? What we got here? Oh, we got some more. Anybody else? No? Okay. We got another guy coming up here. Okay, this is all good. Who wants the microphone? You need a guitar? We got another guitar over there. There's an electric guitar. Bob, there's a guitar right there. Just don't drop it. Okay, here we go. Who wants the mic?
So, we're in the spot now. I have no idea what I'm going to do here, but okay. Sister Agatha is learning how to play guitar.
Don't touch anything. Is yours? Oh, don't worry, I am not.
And we're
It's not that, I just want to make sure you
going
got the sound.
to sing the song in Portuguese, but the lyric says, I want to belong to God. We want a life of grace and fullness, and it just comes from God. And the song goes like that.
Forgiveness is like giving somebody a second chance. And God always wants us to give a second chance to other people. Because otherwise, if we didn't forgive, we might lose all our friends. Because we would just say, I'm not your friend. You're not my friend. You did something wrong. You messed up my stuff. And then everybody would have no friends except imaginary friends.
Let's give it up for those sisters one more time, if you don't mind. Okay, I need you to think about one
about your favorite superhero ever. Think back. It doesn't have to be a real person. It can be a real person. Whoever it was, tell somebody next to you who it was and why it was. It was your best friend or your favorite superhero. You got 1 minute, 3, 2, 1. Tell somebody around you who it was and why it was, if you don't mind. How many of you here have a best friend? Anybody here got a best friend? Now, wait. Let me go ahead and define. I got one story, then I'm bringing up a really good friend of mine who's going to help me sing a bit, and I promise you, it's going to be a pretty cool experience for you. But I want you to think about this, about your best friend. I'm talking about a best friend that finds out something about you that's not the best. For instance, you get scared real easy, and your best friend has made it their mission in life to hide behind everything that's bigger than them, to scare you, to give you a heart attack, and send you to heaven early. Anybody got a best friend like that? Say aye. All right, let me give you one more. I'm talking about a best friend that you and your best friend are late. You've lost track of time. You know how that happens. You start running. You run up the stairs. You trip up the stairs. When you trip up the stairs, by the way, have you ever noticed that messes with your life a little bit? You fall down the stairs, that's normal. You trip up the stairs, you got problems, okay? But you trip up the stairs and your first response is, thank God my best friend is here, because had they stopped? Yes. Have they stopped to help? No. They stopped to take their phone out of their pocket and take it as a photo opportunity. Anybody got a best friend like that? Okay. Now let me help you with this. For me growing up, I had two best friends, Jesse and Jason. Jesse and who? Jason. Okay, now Jesse was spending the night at my house. I was probably about 7, 8 years old when this happened. I was mad at Jason, don't care, whatever. Okay, so Jesse was spending the night at my house. My dad tells us, he goes, Michael, Jesse, get in the car. I'm always up for a party. We had to go to the grocery store to get something to eat. And here's what happens, man. We get to the grocery store, and my dad looks at Jesse. He said, Jesse, what do you want to eat? We happen to be buying the birthday cakes at the grocery store, and I'm like, Jesse, you can't say that because we're not going to get that. He said, Mr. Billy, we want birthday cake. My dad looks at me and goes, Michael, you want birthday cake? I'm like, well, if he wants it, I want it, but if he can't have it, I can't have it, and I'm okay with that. But if he wants it, he's my friend, he's spending the night at our house, I think we should have it. He looks at Jesse, he says, Jesse, you want birthday cake? He says, yes, sir. He says, get the biggest one you can find. I look at Jesse, I look at my dad the first time in public and said, Dad, I love you. We picked the biggest one, we put it in the cart, we're driving, we get back home. Oh, I gotta take a sideline here. When we were walking through the grocery store, my dad says, Michael, Jesse, get something to eat. I said, something to drink. I said, can we have whatever we want? He says, as long as you can buy it, you can have it. We were 7 years old. I said, fine. We go down the aisle with all the pop. Jesse likes Dr. Pepper. I'm a Coke man myself. He goes up to the Dr. Pepper. He does not pick a small can or a small bottle. Jesse gets a 2-liter of Dr. Pepper. We 7. Not a good idea. But I said, if you're going to get a 2-liter Dr. Pepper, I'm going to get myself a 2-liter of Coke. This is going down. We get in the car. We drive home. We get home. We dig into the birthday cake. It's flying everywhere. We cannot finish the birthday cake. I look at Jesse. He looks at me. He takes the Dr. Pepper. I take the Coke. We cheers each other, and I start chugging the Coke. He chugs the Dr. Pepper. I realized something about myself that night. When you put that much sugar and caffeine in this body, crazy things happen. I'm running around my house, screaming at the top of my lungs. My dad's like, what's wrong? I'm like, you did this to me. He says, go in the back room, close the door, come back out in a couple hours, no problem. We had the very first old school Nintendo system, and we're playing this game called Excite Bike. I don't even know if any of you know what that game is, but we're playing this game. Jesse leaves. I don't care. I'm hyped up on so much sugar, I'm talking to myself, I'm having a good time. I find out later what happened. Jesse goes into the living room, he looks at my dad. My dad's name is Billy. He said, Mr. Billy, how you doing?
My dad says, I'm fine, Jesse. What's wrong with you? He says, Mr. Billy, I feel real good. He said, Jesse, what do you want? He said, Mr. Billy, you know your son Michael? My dad's like, Jesse, yes, what do you want? He said, Mr. Billy, you know how your son gets scared real easy? My dad's like, yeah. He said, what you thinking? He said, well, Mr. Billy, I was going to see if we could get Jason to come over and he can hide in Michael's closet because, Mr. Billy, we're going to try to stay up all night long, but it ain't going to happen. You ever try to stay up all night long, you get about partway through your life, through the night, you're like, I don't like this, right? And you even pray. You might say, I don't pray. Yes, you do. Everybody here prays. Prove my point. When the teacher puts a test on your desk and you didn't see it coming, Jesus is your best friend. You're like, hey, come here, help. But God hears our prayers, and I love it. And here's the thing, we're sitting there, and Jesse says, Mr. Billy, I was thinking Jason can come over, hide in Michael's closet, we can go to bed, I can say, hey Mike, something's in your closet, Michael can go to the closet, Jason could jump out and scare your son half to death, Mr. Billy, what you think about that? Now my dad, who's supposed to protect me, my dad who's supposed to love me, my dad who had fun bringing me into this world. Too much? Okay, anyways. Gets down on his knee, grabs Jesse by the shirt, brings him in and said, Jesse, that's the best idea I've heard all week. Get his parents on the phone. This is going down unaware to me. After a little while, Jesse comes back in the back room. He looks at me, he says, hey Mike, I'm tired. I'm like, good, let's go to bed. Because now I'm an emotional person. And when you have a sugar crash as an emotional person, that's messed up. And if those of you that are emotional people that have ever had a sugar crash, in a moment like that, can I get it? I get it with you. You get it? Oh, you get it. I like you. We can be friends. Anyways, Jesse said, let's go to bed. I go into my room. I cut the lights off. Jesse lays over there. I lay over there. It's pitch black dark. You can't see a hand in front of you. We've been laying there about 32.7 seconds. Jesse says, hey, Mike. What? Did you hear that? Now, I don't care who you are. Somebody in pitch black darkness asked you a question, did you hear that? You start hearing stuff. I said, Jesse, what you think it is? He said, Mike, it's in your closet. He said, go look. I said, hell no. I'm tucking the sheets all around me. I'm small, Jesse's big. I'm like an appetizer. He's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Eat him first. Please, Jesus, help. And I'm laying there. I learned something about every person in this room. Everybody has a God-given unique noise. Did you know that? If you're in a situation where you have to be quiet, and somebody next to you does something ridiculously funny, and you're trying to hold it in, and whatever comes out your mouth or your body, that's your God-given you. Some of you, whatever you do, everybody's got one. I never knew my best friend's noise until this moment. I'm laying there in the pitch black darkness, and I hear next to me, I said, Jesse! I'm thinking to myself, he's going down like it's good for me because it's him, not me. But I'm like, Jesse, you okay? He says, And then it hit me. Like this. I said, Jesse, are you scared? He says, And he's fighting back the laughter. And I said, Jesse, you want me to look in the closet? He says, yeah. I said, fine. Jesse, Jason, and my father never knew that I slept with a baseball bat underneath my bed. I take the baseball bat. In the pitch black darkness, I get against the wall. I'm like, this is going down. I walk like this. I'm scared out of my mind. I get in front of the closet door. I open up the closet door. 2 miracles of God happened that night. First miracle of God, the fact that Jason got in my closet. Miracle 1. The reason my closet doors was this big. Jason this big. How he got in? Miracle. I don't know, but he's in there. Miracle 1. Miracle 2 is I take the base. What I should have done is walked over to the light, turn the light on, walk over to the closet door, open up the closet door, look in the closet. If nothing is there, say, hey man, we good. If something is in there, you close the door. You ask yourself the question, did I just see that? Most likely you done did see what you thought you saw. You take off running because whoever gets away first gets away. I didn't do that. I open up the closet door. Miracle 1, Jason's in there. Miracle number 2, I take the baseball bat out of just fear and panic, and I shove it into the closet as hard as I can. Second miracle, I didn't hit him. I don't know if his arm was stuck like this and the bat went. I don't know how it happened, but I didn't hit him. I said, Jesse, we good. I hear the noise again. I'm like, oh my God. I take the baseball bat and I go to swing down. Question. You ever felt hot breath on your face in pitch black darkness? Jason had launched himself out of this closet. And it wasn't like a nice, like, boo. I'm talking about he launched out going, I was so scared.
I dropped the weapon in my hand. You ever been that scared? If you have a weapon, you get that scared, something's coming at you, and you drop your weapon, you're so scared you can't scream. I'm like, and I'm trying to tell Jason to run, because I was destined to run, because we are done with this. But Jason had so much momentum, he lands on top of me. I didn't know what it was. It was bigger than me. Its breath stinks. I can't handle this. He gets on top of me, and I couldn't scream until he gets on top of me like this, and he goes, finally, my dad, he knew I was going to scream. The moment the scream came out of my mouth, he kicks open the door to my room, turns the light on, and takes it as a photo opportunity. We got the picture still today. It's me on the ground like this. There's Jason on top of me, and there's Jesse in the bed. You wonder why I'm as messed up as I am. Thank you very much. But here's the point. Jesse and Jason, they're still my good friends today. They do not believe what I believe. I get to fly down in a couple weeks to see them. I remember I had a chance to spend some one-on-one time with Jason. Every time I go down to Houston, I always take him out separately, because anytime they come together, it's always bad for me. But I sit with him, and I remember just looking at my best friend, and he was at a place in his life where he was scared about what the next stage in his life was going to look like. And he looks at me and he goes, yeah, Mike, he goes, you travel the world, you've had a TV show, you got a wife and some kids. And I said, yes, sir. But he says, I'm scared my life's not going to mean anything. I remember I looked at my best friend Jason at this restaurant we were at, and I didn't care what anybody else thought. Because sometimes you need somebody to come alongside of you that sees something in you you can't yet see in yourself. The reason why we stand in the gap with 20 to 30,000 students every year is because we believe in you. And that's not just a word to make us feel good. That's a truth that we've been doing this for 10 years now. Pouring our life out to let you know that you're worth something. That your track record for getting through bad days from the day that you're born up until today's date is 100%. You're not here by accident. And I believe that the gift that you've been given is meant to be a light to shine to the world. Maybe you've been over a situation over this past year or two that has just really taken you and turned your life upside down. Maybe everything that you're known for is now getting challenged, and you have to discover that it's not what we do that defines us, it's who we are right here that defines us. If I lost my voice today, never be able to speak again, you know what? I'd still add value to the world. Not because I'm better than anybody, but because I find something to do. Maybe I'd start writing. And if I broke my arm, well, you know what? Maybe I just go up to people and just smile at them. I don't know. They're like, you look funny. Look at you. We both look funny. Okay, let's smile. Let's live life and be joyful. See, we're not going to let our problems become our excuses. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure and my honor to introduce a very dear friend of mine. We've had the opportunity to share stages and platforms and places of great responsibility and great, honor. Her name is Rika Boras. She is from here in Calgary, Alberta, and we're gonna sing a few songs for you if that's okay. Could you give her a big round of applause if you don't mind? Where's Micah? Give this guy a big round of applause. You gotta give him a bigger round of applause than that.
Test 1, 2. You guys like Chance the Rapper?
Can you help us a little bit with that, though? Can you clap your hands? Clap! Clap! No. Okay. She can sing. There's a difference between you can sing and you can hold a tune. But this girl, she hates when I do this. I don't care. But you got to do this song that I love. It's that "I Will Always Love You" song. You know that song? You remember that? You know that song, "I Will Always Love You"? Watch this.
Do you guys know the words to that?
Yeah.
So, excuse me? That is Whitney Houston. Madam Whitney, rest in peace. Okay. Here we go. If I should stay, channeling my Whitney, I would only be in your way. So I'll go, but I know I'll think of you every step of the way. You see, it's better when I'm by myself, right? You killed it, though. I got to. And I will always love you. Will always love you. I will always love you. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. You have no rival. You have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom. Yours is the glory. Yours is the name above all names. You have no rival. You have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom. Yours is the glory. For you are raised to life again. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus.
Can you help us sing that part? That'll just be our prayers and go to this next part. Micah, you can play those drums. Well, give Micah a round of applause if you don't mind. We're going to pray that one last time.
What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful
gentlemen, give Reek a big round of applause if you don't mind.
I have realized that there's two camps of people. Is Mike here already? Is Mike maybe? Not yet, he's on his way. There's two camps of people. Number one over here, there's a camp of people that love adrenaline. Like you see something like a roller coaster, something that could like scare you to death, and you're like, I'm all into that. If you're an adrenaline person, can you raise up your hand and say, I? Okay. But then we got the camp of people over here. Maybe some of you can relate to this one a little bit better, but these are the kind of people that you see the roller coaster, the adrenaline thing, and you look at it, you're like, no, man, I'm good, I'm fine. You're probably going to live longer than those people, but if this is you in this camp, could you say I? And here lies one of the greatest tensions in life that we have yet to be okay with. Me, in the way that I am, is not always the way everybody else is. Let me give you a very clear example. I remember seeing this one ride in Calgary, Alberta. We were driving through. I was not living in Calgary at the time. We were driving through during the Stampede, and I saw over to the right this one ride, and I thought to myself, one day, I'm going to get up on that ride. Now, I didn't have time to do it, but let's fast forward. I was playing guitar for an artist by the name of Janelle. We were doing a tour in New Zealand. On the tour was myself, the guitar player, Jason, the bass player, who was the husband of Janelle, the singer. Three of us. I was the third wheel. I wasn't married yet. If you've been the third wheel around a couple, you smile like you're all good, then they start kissing and beat down. You're like, I hate you. But anyways, you're good. God bless you. Anyways, hurry up, God. Give me somebody. Anyways, I'm looking at them, and we have one day off, and we make a turn. And I see this ride. And this ride, I start freaking out. I said, whoa! I said, stop! Jason slams on the brakes. I jump out of the car. I run up to the lady at the booth. I said, excuse me, can I have 2 tickets? They said, yes, sir, that'll be $50 a piece. I said, no problem. Here's $100. They said, would you like to film it? I said, yes, ma'am. How much that cost? 20 extra bucks. I said, here's 30. Why you give me 30? $10 tip. We like you. I said, I like you too. Give me the tickets. And I take the tickets and I walk over to Jason. I said, Jason, this is for you. And this one's for me. He says, okay, Mike, where are we going? I said, that ride. He goes, Mike, I'm terrified of heights. I just spent $100-something on that ticket for both of us. I said, you are going to get on the ride. He says, Mike, I'm not going to do it. I'm terrified. Motivational Michael showed up. I said, hey, it is time to overcome your fear. Jesus is with you. Let's go. Come on. And he said, I ain't going to do it until his wife, Janelle, looks at him, puts her head to her whole body back. She goes, I thought you were a man. Wow. Janelle says, was that too much? I said, yes. I said, but that's okay. Now he's going to get on the ride. He said, what you mean? I said, come on. And Jason gets on this ride. He doesn't want to be there. I don't care. You may have seen this ride. It's a 2-person ride. It's him and it's me. It's a ball contraption with 2 bungee cords on each side. Now we're sitting there. And Jason looks at me and he says, Mike, am I going to survive? I'm like, no. And the guy's buckling us in. I said, excuse me. I said, why are there so many buckles? And the guy, without missing a beat, says, if one breaks, you won't fall out and die. I looked at Jason. I'm like, you gonna fall. And the guy looks back at me. He says, you don't look scared. I said, I'm not scared. He said, would you mind if I tried to scare you? I said, give it your best shot. He said, well, wait. What about your friend? I'm like, he's going to die one day anyways. Come on, this is going to be fun. He says, all I need you to do is count down from 10. Can you do that? I'm like, bro, 3rd grade. So actually, 1st grade, I learned that. 10! And I get all cocky and arrogant. 9! And I'm screaming, 8! I'm like, Jason, count. He's like, 7! I'm screaming so loud, I got a crowd of people around us at this point. I'm like, look, Jason, all the people, 7, 6! When I got to 3, my world changed. I'm not talking about the kind of scare where you're like, boo, moment. No. I'm talking about, you ever been in a situation where you think you are not going to survive the next 2 minutes? Here's why. When I screamed out 3, the ride operator screams at the top of his lungs. First of all, it is my job as a paying participant of this ride. It's my freedom to scream. When you scream, problems. When I scream, fun. You scream, problem. What happened? And he looks at me and goes, oh, and your seatbelts are undone. Boom! And we get shot into heaven, thinking that we are not attached. And I don't care who you are. I looked at the moment to look at my friend Jason to say goodbye. It's been a good life. He was so scared. He goes, "Blah!" He faints. I'm like, he's dead. I don't know what to do. We finally get back down to planet Earth. And the guy looks at us with that big smile. He's like, eh. He starts unbuckling us. I take off running. He said, excuse me, sir, where are you going? I said, I am going to the bathroom. He said, what about your friend? I'm like, you killed him. You fix him. But you know what the problem is? What the guy said wasn't even true. You see, sometimes when you're fighting through something, and make no mistake, it's a battle, but you're pushing through something, and you're seeing an angle to be able to see a bigger vision. All it takes sometimes is one person to say something that's not even true that could throw you off your game. Now, I have the honor and the privilege to introduce somebody to you who's a very good friend of mine. Every time I have a talk, he always asks me, and when I ask him, I say, hey man, you want to come give a talk? He goes, are you going to make fun of me? I'm like, well, I got to be careful, because if I make fun of you, you could hurt me. And so I don't want to do that, because I love you, and I want to be safe, and when I'm around you, I feel safe. But he's got a phenomenal story. Ladies and gentlemen, he plays for the CFL, and not only does he just play for the CFL, he's an amazing guy. He just got engaged. He's a great friend of mine. Would you please welcome up here with me my good friend, Mr. Mike Klassen, if you don't mind. Hey, buddy.
What's up?
Hey. I love your hair, by the way. It's party in the back. I like that.
Party all the time.
Party all the time. Now, Mike, I've asked you to come here today, and you didn't even say. I mean, your immediate response to me was, absolutely, I'm in. We're sitting in a school right now that has people that have maybe proven something, and more than most, I think. Maybe they've had some hiccups in their journey, and they're here to finish high school or to get through some difficult moments to make it. As a friend, as a football player, what is that like for you to see when you have an obstacle to face? How do you get in the mindset to be able to see through the problems or through somebody that's bigger than you or a situation? What does that look like for you when you have to face something that's difficult?
I mean, it's simple. It's just perseverance, you know? Like, it's easy to get down on yourself, but it's a lot harder to have that mental outlook that, you know, I'm going to keep on keeping on. You know, talking from my story, I've been injured now a couple times. I'm probably the biggest loser when it comes to football. I've lost now 2 Grey Cups, a couple Eastern Finals. You know, we lost every game in high school. College, we'd always make it to the big game and lose. But it's about, you know, strapping up for the next year and hoping for the best and having that positive outlook, just hoping that, you know, one day you will be a champion. And the same thing with injuries, you know, it's really easy to get down on yourself, like, oh, I'm never going to be the same athlete, I'm never going to be the same person. But it's just doing the right things, you know, if you need to be in there rehabbing, if you need to be in the gym, if you need to be in the pool, doing all the things possible to get yourself right. And, you know, obviously I'm talking from a football standpoint, but you can talk in all matters of life, you know, you pick something and you stick with it, you grind it out, and hopefully you love doing it.
No, you bring something up because I've actually been your friend since you were smaller than me. And then I don't know what happened, but you blew up like a balloon and I stayed like this. But anyways.
You call me fat?
No, I'm not calling you fat.
See, he does. He brings me out here and he makes fun of me.
No, I'm not. But on a serious note though, like, because you brought something up, like in high school, you know, you guys weren't always, you know, on the winning side. And some of your playing nowadays, like you've been so close where you can almost taste that victory, which makes us kind of ask the bigger questions, like what happens if I never get the ring? What happens if we never get the championship? What is that like to be able to be so close to something that you have, I think it's one thing to have a goal to get towards, but maybe when you don't achieve it, do you see it as a loss, or what does that look like to you?
you can see it as a loss, but more importantly, you can see it as, you know, a building block towards a better future. You know, this molded, maybe I wouldn't be the man I am today if I didn't lose all these football games, you know. Maybe I wouldn't be the man today if I didn't get hurt a couple times and had to take a step back and be on the sidelines. So, you know, it's your failures, and it's your failures that make you. Everyone thinks, oh, he's successful, successful, successful. If I was to put up, you know, a page of all my successes and a page of all my failures, I bet my failures would be twice as long. But that's what you need to do to have that success page, right?
So I think it really comes down to the journey of getting there.
Exactly.
And what we said in the very beginning is that our goal, for me personally, and I can attest this for you too, is that tomorrow we become better than today. And we can't just all of a sudden say that we're going to be better tomorrow and not do the things today to make us better for tomorrow. And so how would you encourage maybe somebody that's here today that, you know, maybe they came and they're staying, they didn't even realize, they stayed and they didn't even know why they're still staying here. But maybe they're giving life one more chance. And I know that you're a man of faith and you have some things in your heart that you're still working out. You're getting married soon.
Crazy.
Can you believe that? Like somebody actually said yes. That's amazing.
And they said yes to this, believe it or not.
Yeah,
so
that's,
I might keep it for the wedding.
Don't do that.
No,
Don't do that. But I'm watching your journey and the ups and the downs and the, you know, you have a really positive attitude. I love that. I think that's a mindset, and even in the Bible it says to be renewed by the transforming of your mind. But what would you say to the student that's here that's saying, man, I just don't know if I can keep going. I don't know if I can, you know, it's overwhelming, it's tough. How would you encourage them?
You know, if I was sitting in these guys' seats, probably about, 10 years ago, I'm guessing you guys are 16, 17 years old. Actually, a coach this year said, you know, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes worrying about it. You know, we get so caught up in, get dumped by a girlfriend or, boyfriend. We fail a test. That stuff's not going to matter in the future. But overall, it's your outlook on life and your positivity and moving forward. And that can be said for a lot of things. Just as, oh man, I'm lost for words now. What am I trying to say, Mark?
I think what you're trying to say is that when I see, I like what you said about 5 minutes. Don't spend more than 5 minutes, but it's not going to worry in 5 years. And I think we get caught up on the little things, right? And so I guess the bigger thing for you is that you had a vision. You knew what you were hoping to achieve, maybe in that moment. It's changed since high school. I think it's gotten bigger and better. But when we get hiccups in there, and roadblocks, and maybe my man here, tried this certain thing in his life, and you should have heard him earlier. This guy can spit some rhymes. He's amazing. But at the end of the day, you're constantly growing. You're constantly getting better at it. And so I don't know what that looks like for you for the next 5 years, but tell me about that. What are you doing right now to make tomorrow better?
Probably in the next 5 years, I'm going to have to make the transition from football to a regular person life. And, football's been amazing. It's given me so many opportunities to meet amazing people, amazing friends. It's made me who I am today, but, I'm going to have to worry about what's next. And, that's going to be a difficult step for me. All I've known for the last, 10, 11 years has been football. But again, it's not about worrying. It's about just keeping on a straight path and just keep grinding.
And doing the right thing. I like that. So one thing about you, Mike, as we close this little part off here is, when I'm around you, I feel safer. I'll say things in public if you're around that I wouldn't say if you weren't around. And I want to thank you for your friendship, and I want to thank you that hopefully I can add value to you. You've added a ton of value to me. And I know that as you're sitting here and you see somebody that's actually living out that dream that many people have, it's come with a lot of hard work for this guy. And I'm proud of you, and I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful that you're letting that light shine inside of you.
Thank you. If I could just say one more thing, don't worry about what others think of you. It's 2019, I'm rocking them all. You think I care about what people think of me? But it took me 10 years to figure this out. If you guys can figure this out right now, you guys are going to be set up for success. And thanks for having me out.
In the darkness is when everything began to form. this beat that you're hearing in the darkness is slowed down at a rapid speed. And what you're hearing right now is a heartbeat. And it bothered me a little bit because the idea of this heartbeat changed the world forever. You see, because it was in the darkness that you were safe. It was in the darkness that you did not get to choose anything. It was in the darkness that you were formed. Everything from your heart to your eyes to your ears to your hands to your feet to the dreams that were beginning to be placed inside of you. And in that darkness, it was safety and it was comfort. But then it came to a moment in your life and in my life where the thing that you were meant to be created for was no longer in the space that you were. I want to say that again. The thing that you were created for was no longer in the space that you were in. And what happened is you began to kick and you began to push and you began to make way. And it was the moment that in that moment, all of a sudden, light shined. And when the light hit, your response to the light was to scream. And you let everybody know that you were here. Little did anybody know of the impact that you were going to make, the tsunami that started because of you. Because you said, I'm not going to give up. Because you said, yes, my heart's broken, but at the end of the day, I'm going to put it back together, and I need you to help me. You see, nothing ever great is accomplished by one person alone. It is always the community of people that get put around you. I mean, though you didn't get to choose this school, maybe the people that were in this school, you're choosing to sit here. And because of that, there's a responsibility. Every moment, 24 hours, 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. You want to know how to get through a bad day? You think about somebody in your life right now that's struggling. You think about somebody right now that just lost a kid. You think about somebody right now that just got diagnosed with a sickness. You think about somebody right now that's struggling with anxiety or depression. And you just ask yourself the question, could I keep going for them? This is a story. You know, it reminds me of this final story I'm going to tell you today, and then we're going to have the amazing band of students from the school, teachers from the school. They're going to come up and play for you. And then we're going to have an open mic after, and I hope you can share your gift at that moment. If you'll do that, that'd be great. My final story today is this. Some of you may have heard this, but I think it's worthwhile for me to spend a bit of time. There was this kid named Michael who was about to be 18 years old. 18 was a good age, yeah? Anybody here 18 years old? This month, anybody about to be 18? Anybody's birthday today, by the way? Anybody's birthday this past week? Anybody's birthday next week? Yours is? 2 weeks? Happy birthday, here's $20. Now whose birthday is it? You're raising up your hands and everything. Happy birthday, man. Do something for somebody with that. Now listen. 18 years old, this kid. Now I heard this story, let me be very crystal clear. This is not my story, but I heard this story. Now Michael's going to be 18. His dad comes into his room on Thursday. His birthday's on Sunday. His dad says, hey Mike, you're going to be 18. On Sunday, he's like, yeah, Dad, I know, man. He says, what do you want for your birthday? Michael looks at his dad, he says, Dad, I don't care, I'll have anything. Yeah, just wait. He goes, no, son, if you could have anything, what would you want? You see, here's the thing. Sometimes, us in this room, we think that everybody else is supposed to know what we need. We got to be able to communicate to people around us that love us. You got to be able to tell them. Don't expect them to know. And he looks at his dad and he says, okay, Dad, if I can have anything, I'd love to have a car. His dad laughs in the car. Oh, son, I'll see what I can do. On Friday, Michael goes to school. When Michael gets to school, everybody's kind of patting him on the back, saying, Michael, your birthday's this weekend. Happy birthday. And at lunchtime, Mike gets up onto the counter on the table, and he stands up in the lunchroom, and he says, everybody, it's my birthday on Sunday. Everybody starts clapping. And he says, listen, I think I'm getting a car for my birthday. Everybody starts clapping. And he says, if I get that car, all you got to do is call me if you get in trouble.
If you're in a situation you need out of, call me, I'll help you. If you end up doing something you never thought you was going to do and you just need out, no questions asked, I'll be there. Everybody starts clapping for Mike because he was that kind of kid. Saturday, he's sitting in his room and his dad walks in his room. And his dad says, hey, Mike, you told me that you wanted a car, but the problem is you didn't tell me what kind of car you wanted. He says, Dad, as long as it works, we'd be good, man. He says, son, what's your dream car? My dream car. Dad, my dream car has been the same dream car ever since I was a kid. He says, what is it? My dream car is a Porsche 911. It's a little bit souped up. It's an old school model, but it's always been my dream car. Now, this night might not be your dream car. It's not your dream. It's his dream. Start celebrating other people's dreams. Even if they look different than yours. I guarantee you help somebody accomplish their dream, your life will be more fulfilled. Guaranteed, period, in the story. He said, son, how much is that, Porsche 911 that how much that cost? He says, Dad, the one I want's $94,000. His dad says, okay. I'll see what I can do. Sunday comes along. They had a tradition in their family, whoever's birthday it was, the mom would make that person's favorite meal. They'd have birthday cake and ice cream. So they eat the meal, it was amazing. They eat the birthday cake and ice cream, it was incredible. And then his dad stands up for the moment for the presents. And his dad walks over to Michael and gives him a card. He has two younger sisters, and he gives Michael the card. And what's the first thing you look for when you get a card for your birthday? Be honest. Money. So he takes the card, he squishes it together, nothing falls out, so he throws it behind, and Michael's dad gets mad. Pick up the card, read the card. He reads the card. It had glitter and lipstick kisses on it. It was awesome cute. It's so cute. He looks at his sister and says, thank you. Then his dad looks at him, and his dad says, son, I'm going to give you a gift now. You're not going to understand this gift, but I promise you, what's in it is more than you could ever hope. He gives Michael this wrapped up package, and Michael takes the package, and if you're like Michael, you try to guess what it is before you open it. And Michael's so excited, he's trying to feel what it is, and it feels like a book. Then he thinks to himself, a car manual. Genius. And he takes the page, and he rips open the package. He sees two words on it. The two words angered him. The two words caused him to really show up. The real him is going to show up. See, like I told you, eventually the real you is going to show up. Are you okay with that? He stands up and he looks at his dad. He says, you got to be kidding me. Every time you've ever promised anything, you've always let me down. Remember, Dad, the time that you promised you were going to take us on vacation, you never did. Why? Because you were too busy. Hey, Dad, you know what I've never told you? Remember that baseball I used to play? You love baseball, right, Dad? Well, I played baseball, and I got up to home plate, Dad, and I was ready, and I knew you were going to be in the crowd, and Dad, when they pitched the ball, I swung as hard as I could. Dad, I hit the ball out of the park. When I hit the home run, I turned around to look in the crowd, and I saw my sisters, and I saw my mom. And with a devastated look, my mom looked at me and said, I'm sorry. You know that I never ran those bases. I set the baseball bat down, I got my glove and my stuff, and I went and sat in the car. Dad, the only reason why I played baseball was to impress you because you like baseball. He says, Dad, I'm done with you and I'm done with this family. He goes into his room and he slams the door. Because what he saw in that book, you could probably guess that the two words said Holy Bible on it. The kid didn't believe in God, didn't go to church. He took the book and he threw it against the wall. The kid sat on the edge of his bed, and the kid cried himself to sleep that night. Not because he's soft, because he's weak. Our weakness is what's going to connect us, right? He wakes up the next morning, and he's madder than when he went to sleep. And when he gets out of the room, he walks out of his room, and he sees his mom there, doesn't say thank you for the meal, sees his sisters, doesn't say thank you for the card, sees his dad, doesn't say, hey, Dad, thanks for the gift, I'm sorry I overreacted. Listen, let's talk about it tonight. Have a great day. I love you. Doesn't say anything. Michael gets to school. When Michael gets to school, nobody says anything. He's so mad during first period. Finally, after second period, he takes a deep breath and he calms down. The teacher looks at him and says, Michael, happy birthday! He says, thanks, teacher. He said, what'd you do? He goes, you look kind of down. You okay? He goes, well, actually, I said some things last night that I shouldn't have said. I feel bad. He says, okay. He looks at all the class and he says, how many of you here have ever said something or did something that the moment you said it, you wish you could take it back? Anybody ever been there before? Anybody who have some regrets that way? I have. Yeah. He says, we can't change what we've done, but we can change what we do. He says, happy birthday, Mike. I wish you the very best this year. A few moments later, there was a knock on the door. And the knock on the door was the counselor. The counselor comes in. Is Michael in here? Michael raises his hand up. And he walks over to Michael. He says, Michael, come with me. They're walking down the hallway. And as they're kind of walking with each other, Michael's thinking to himself, this is like the 5-year life plan talk, right? And he gets into the office and he sits down and the counselor grabs a chair, puts it right next to him. The counselor takes a piece of paper, writes 10 digits on it. He said, son, put this in your pocket. Michael puts the card in his pocket and he looks at the counselor. The counselor said, Michael, I became a counselor because I wanted to help kids. But nothing could have prepared me for this. He said, Michael, what I'm about to tell you right now is going to rock your world. He said, Michael, at 11 o'clock this morning, we received a phone call. He says, your father was at work and he was filing some papers. Michael, as your father was filing some papers, Michael, I don't know how to say, I'm just going to say it, your father, he suffered a massive heart attack. And son, he didn't make it. Michael grips the bottom of his chair and he begins to squeeze. Because he doesn't want to share the emotion or show it. He said, son, you don't have to say anything. We got a car coming to pick you up. You have my number in your pocket. You call me anytime you need me. The driver picks him up, and as he's driving him home, every couple of seconds he's looking in the rearview mirror, making eye contact, didn't say a word. The guy knew what this kid was going through. And he would just look at him and give him a head nod like, I understand, and there's nothing I can say that can make whatever you're feeling any better right now. But just know that I'm here. They get to his house, and the driver opens up the door and ushers it in and waits just calmly. And as Michael goes inside, he sees his sisters and his mom on the couch laid out. Everything in him wanted to run up, be a kid and cry his eyes out. He couldn't. Because for some reason, even in this school, we got our territories. We got our crew. We got our people. I'm here, you're there. When life calls your bluff, sometimes you got to be willing to put aside all that stuff to realize that we've been given a gift, and that's each other. Michael didn't go up to his parents, to his mom and his sisters. He walked into that place, that safe place, his room. Shuts the door, sits down on the edge of his bed, and he's thinking, maybe now I can cry and just feel whatever I'm feeling. But what caught him was that book, and he walks over to the book, and he unwraps it, and all it was a Bible. And then he got mad at himself. He goes, I got mad over a book. I got mad over a gift. I don't even believe in a gift. It's okay. But it was a gift, and I got mad. And it's funny whenever you get to a moment where everything comes crashing down, you'll pray. And he says, God, I don't believe in you. I'm not into this kind of stuff. But if you could help me, that would be great. And he opens up the front page. And typically it's a blank page. And it says, Dear Michael, I want you to know how much I love you. And I want you to know how sorry I am for every time I've ever let you down. Son, starting today, I promise to be the father you've always hoped for. Here's to a new start for you and for me. I hope you accept it because, son, I love you, signed Dad. And of course, his heart began to break. Maybe for me and you, it's to acknowledge the pain, the disconnect with somebody, even in this room. But he said, God, that's not enough if you can help me. And he flips it to the middle of the book, because maybe the middle of the book's got the best stuff. And what he flips to was a bookmark, and the bookmark had his name on it. And because the bookmark had his name on it, it made him smile. Because every time his dad went away on a business trip, he would bring him something back with his name on it. And he's like, that's so my dad. And he knew deep down that his dad loved him, and he knew deep down his dad would forgive him for what he said the night before. But here's the thing that got him. When he was looking at that bookmark, something scratched the back of his finger. It couldn't have been car keys or anything like that because it was flat. But what happens is he takes the bookmark and he turns it over. And when he turns it over, he drops the book. He drops the bookmark, and the kid drops to his knees. You want to know why? Because stapled to the back of that bookmark was a check written for $94,000. In the memo, it said, "Son, I love you." And you and I, we both know that book has nothing, and that story has nothing to do with $94,000. What that story has, and maybe this is the whole thing of bringing it together before we have some fun at the end, is that the radar screen only shows us where we've been and where we are. What faith tells us is where we're going is going to be a heck of a lot better. And some of you here are holding on to a prayer. Maybe you've lost somebody in your life. Maybe you've had to face insurmountable circumstances. The fact that you're here should give you enough faith to believe that your story's not done. Don't you dare give up. I need you. The world needs you. And God wants you. You're God's kid. You're not defined by the things that you're talented at. You're defined by who you've been created to be here. Get in connection with that. You're tired? Rest. You unmotivated? Get around people that have a dream. You want to be inspired? You go have a conversation with one of these beautiful ladies right after this. Aren't they incredible? Yeah. Go talk to this guy that's looked pain and suffering right in the face and had to lay on the field and be taken out by a stretcher, yet he's still here today, stronger because of it. Talk to some of these people that are on our team here and why they're serving with our ministry. All the teachers, do me a favor, please stand up. All the teachers here, please stand up. I've never met a school with teachers like yours. I've never been to a school with teachers like yours. They're different. And I know for a fact that sometimes they push you, but I guarantee you can't deny that they don't love being here for you. And they push you because they see something in you that you might not yet be able to see in yourself. So before we kind of land the plane with this part of the event, could you do me a favor? If there's somebody here that you need to make right with, or if there's a teacher here that you can say thank you to, let's not leave this moment without that kind of opportunity. Don't leave this room yet. But let somebody here know that you're thankful for. Maybe it's somebody you've never met before. Just go up to them and say, hey, you know what? My name is this. And you're going to watch some great things happen. Maybe but don't leave the teachers out. Maybe go say hi to one of these sisters here. Go say Mike or to one of our team. Say, I'm glad you're here. Thankful that you're here. Maybe you've never met somebody. Go say, what's your name? I'm this. Build a freaking community here that's like no other. Shine the light. Everybody stand to your feet for a second. Everybody stand to your feet. This is going to last for 2.5 minutes, and you're good to go, but don't you leave anybody out and go tell somebody they're amazing. Shake their hand. Do what you got to do. You got 2 minutes to make it happen. Don't leave your teachers out, by the way. Thank you very much. Let them know.
Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Look at somebody next to you and say, "You're amazing." Look behind you and say, "You're pretty good too." Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to introduce to you your teachers. Their band's name is called Sick Days. All right. Oh, wait. You got to come on up here a little bit closer. You got to encourage them a little bit. But ladies and gentlemen, give it up for this group here, if you don't mind.
So while the band's getting set up, ladies and gentlemen, there are some people that come into our life that as soon as they walk into the room, you know that they're a positive source of energy. And Mr. Michael Chison and the team that he's brought here for us today, I think they're an example of that.
Test.
I think you all can agree. So
Check,
one more big hand to Michael Chison and his team, please. Our sisters are watching from Brazil as well too. A big thanks to them, everybody. The day's not over yet, so we'd love to have you up as well too, all right? So Michael is a very, very tough act to follow, and so definitely take this with a grain of salt. And so as we close off on our Friday afternoon here, folks, we hope that you enjoy this. We want you to sing along as well if you know the songs, okay?
Test, 1, 2, test.
Test. Hey, where's Miss Dow?
Here she is.
Oh, hey.
All right. This first melody is called Mustang South.
living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. Took the midnight train going Singer in the smoky room, the smell of wine and cheap perfume. All the smile making share the night. It goes on and on and on and
All right, we got Steve Dingle up here. Steve, you want to say some closing?
So thank you, Sick Day, and Miss Dalen and your bravery. She did so amazing for someone who's been nervous all day. Talk about putting yourself out there and being a part of the school community. I know we have some students that also have gifts, and Michael has said that he would allow us to use the equipment a little bit longer, and I hope the Sick Day band's also okay with the kids, students. Does anybody want to come up and Seth maybe, or somebody who wants to come up and do something here? And I don't know how you're going to do this. I'm just going to give you the instruments and make it come to life. And again, let's give Sick Day a big round of applause. Who's brave? Who's coming up? Who's coming up? Where's Francis? Hey Francis, what do we got you doing today?
I'll play guitar.
Oh, we got a guitar player. Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Francis.
You got some rap? You got some rap? Is it appropriate rap for a Catholic school? Remember, I knew you for a little boy. I knew you for
Awesome. Thank you. So let's hear some solo here. You can have a mic too, for sure. You can have my mic, and you can play us your piano, right?
Let's give it up for Francis, eh?
Yeah, Francis, thanks job. You want to share here at this keyboard?
this will be our
Get together sometimes.
good one. Let's hear it.
Hello? Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah. Hey, cool. I'm just gonna do a thing. Just let me know if you can hear me saying the words as I'm playing the piano, okay? Just real fast. I don't really like peanut butter. Can you hear that? We good? Okay. This song, I wrote this song, it's called For Girls. It's a good song. It's a love song. It's about heartbreak and finding stuff about myself. That's cool. Tell me your secrets, you just can't keep it straight to yourself and all you know. Complacent to the point that it's too much to take it all in. Oh sister, I blame myself too, 'cause I know you too well. You're the image of a goddess, and I'll say it once, but the sound of your voice says it all in. Don't doubt how I feel about you, and I'm and it's the truth, not a lie at all. The end. Brown eyes and blonde hair, I wouldn't even dare to hesitate to get your hand. But you already made your choice, went up to be his voice. Oh girl, I can't blame that on you, 'cause I know you too well. You're the worker of God, and I'll do his bidding. But the sight of your face says it all. And don't doubt how I still feel about you, and I'll and it's the truth, not a lie at all. The end. Funny and benevolent, tough girl you could have been. I still can't believe I fell for you, but you chose your life over me and lived your life free to be whatever you wanted it to be. 'Cause I know you too well. You're the rugby girl I fell for at first. A wrestler of life is what you are, and please don't doubt how I felt about you, and I'll and it's the truth, not a lie at all. The end. So naive little girl, I wanted to be your world, but I understand why you said no. Although I made plans for us, I understand I've been nothing but a guide in the crowd. 'Cause I know you too well. You're the art I wished I understood, the brush that painted the way out of the darkness for a little bit. Don't doubt the feelings I want to feel, and I'll and it's the truth, not a lie at all. The end. I've had my share of broken hearts, too much to forget about them, but yet I still go on, searching the world for the perfect girl, committed to experience the world right by my side. 'Cause I will find you wherever you are. I will find you wherever you are. You'll be the image of a goddess, and I'll stay with me despite religion and all. And put the effort into make it work as much as I would, and say that you love me, flawless or not. Okay. Yes. Great. So, man. Oh, okay. The next song I also wrote because I don't know how to play any other kind of song that's a cover. So yeah, it kind of sucks. This song is called Acadia Drive. I had a friend when I went to St. Bonaventure Junior High School in Canyon Meadows, like in that area, and I was thinking about her a lot one month, and I was like, wow, she's really cool. I'm never gonna have a relationship where it's like, we're friends and we're opposite genders, and it's not awkward because we know we don't like each other, we're just friends, you know what I mean? So I wrote this song because I missed her a lot, so.
Wow, that's amazing.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
My final
So
song.
the adults are still here. Actually, all adults are all over 18, but there are particular older beverages that you did. Root beer and hey Mike, what do we need?
We're just gonna